Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Hansen, do you offhand know the average price of electricity per kilowatt hour?
No, I don't have that.
Mr.
I'm sorry, I don't have a specific number.
Okay. Do you have an estimate? Do you have some concept of it?
Certainly, and I know that.
Let me just throw a number if you think you kind of know about where it's at.
No,
Cents per kilowatt hour? Mr. Brune, do you know?
No, it's more important to know the relative costs of one source versus another.
Again, I'll get to that. Mr. Brune, do you know the cost per kilowatt hour?
It depends greatly on the region that you're talking about.
I understand, but overall?
10 cents, give or take.
They're very close. Yeah, it's about 10 cents per kilowatt hour in 2013. You know, Senator Obama, when he was a candidate, said because of his cap and trade proposal that electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket. Dr. Hansen, did you basically concur with that?
Cap and trade, I would not advocate. It indeed would cause an increase in costs. What we need is an economically sensible approach, and that is to put a simple fee on carbon.
So how would that prevent electricity rates from skyrocketing like the cap and trade proposal would? I mean, you talked about a fee and dividend system. I mean, you're going to impose costs on energy. Isn't that going to increase the price of energy?
It will impose costs on carbon-based fuels, yes.
Okay.
And presently, those fuels the costs are there, but they're borne by the public.
President Obama's Energy Secretary, Stephen Chu, made the comment that somehow we've got to figure out how to get our gasoline prices up to the level of Europe. I think he made that comment when our gasoline prices were, I think, actually below $2.
No,
I might be wrong.
No, we're not adding.
Let me finish my question. Back then, I think European gasoline prices were $8 per gallon. Now, again, these are the stated goals, the stated policy.
I didn't state
Dr. Hansen, please let me finish. So these are the stated goals of President Obama, his energy secretary, to get electricity rates to necessarily skyrocket or get gasoline prices basically to quadruple. Do you disagree with those policies?
Certainly.
Those goals?
Certainly.
But
what I have said is to make the costs honest. You know, there are health costs, there are climate costs, and those are borne by the public. You're dumping all those on the public. Let's add them to the fossil fuels where they belong.
This is my question and answer period here. I understand the externalities. I'm talking right now about what families would feel in Wisconsin in terms of their energy price, their monthly energy bill, their utility bill would necessarily skyrocket if the policies that are supported by individuals like you. And by the way, I agree with Ms. Harbert. I think we're all environmentalists. I mean, I like a pristine environment. I get my water out of a well. I love to fish. I love the outdoors. So we're all environmentalists.
What you're saying is blatantly false.
It is not.
What you can easily show is that if you put an honest, flat fee on carbon, 65% of the people will get more money than they pay in increased electricity and other prices. The economic models show that very clearly.
I come from
only the high-income people will pay more than they get in the dividend.
I come from a manufacturing background. Ms. Harbert, isn't it true if you want to manufacture goods, you need power?
Well, they're the largest consumer of power in the country, and you look at what's happening right now in Germany, which has electricity prices 4 times as high as we have here. And the German industrial community, where are they going? They're coming and investing in the United States. Why? Because we've got affordable energy here, affordable electricity, affordable natural gas. So we're seeing investment come out of Europe because of high prices and come here. So we don't have to look very far to a model that's not working. And by the way, their emissions are going up, not down.
And so if electricity rates were necessarily to skyrocket, that would really hamper manufacturers' ability to be competitive in the world. And what would that do to the number of jobs that would be created and available here in the United States?
Well, it would certainly hurt our competitiveness. It would reduce investment. It would hamper jobs. But also, let's not forget that that's regressive. It would hurt the lowest part of the disposable people with the least amount of disposable income would pay the most.
Okay.
So it's very painful.
Comments. Dr. Hansen, are you familiar with the estimates from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory? Because you were mentioning all the jobs that would be created with green energy that show the government spent $9 billion over the last few years on green jobs and created 910 new jobs, which means that cost $9.8 million per job. Are you aware of those types of statistics? And by the way, I've seen 3 or 4 different studies. This is kind of the midpoint in terms of the cost of these green energy jobs.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with such policies. I say put a simple, honest fee on carbon. Don't say you've got to buy renewables.
But again,
I've never agreed with. So don't blame those.
I'm not
policies
blaming you.
on me.
I'm just talking about the policies that are actually being pushed by this administration. They're not creating the jobs. The jobs that have been created are enormously expensive, and their policies are going to really hamper the ability to create new jobs.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking you to stop and think. And what is the conservative solution to this? It's to put a price on carbon.
President Obama on November 14th said the temperature around the globe is increasing faster than was predicted even 10 years ago. Yet, an article in The Economist in March 2013, and I quote, said temperatures have not really risen over the last 10 years. A month earlier, the BBC News reported that since 1998, there has been an unexplained standstill in the heating of the Earth's atmosphere. This is largely correct, right? That temperatures have remained flat over the last 10, 15 years.
No, the rate of increase has been lower, and it's not unexplained. There's a natural Pacific decadal oscillation, and the Pacific tropical temperature has not warmed during that period, and that's affected the global temperature.
Refutes that. Let me ask just a final question. Mr. Bruin, Dr. Hansen, are you both familiar with a fellow named Patrick Moore?
Yes,
So he was the founder of Greenpeace, correct?
and disavowed by them 3 decades ago.
Well, he's disavowing them as well. He said that he left the group because he said the group became more interested in politics than science and had taken a sharp turn to the political left. But he made the statement, he said, "We do not know whether the present pause in temperature will remain for some time or whether it will go up or down at some time in the near future. What we do know with extreme certainty is that climate is always changing between pauses and that we are not capable with our limited knowledge of predicting which way it will go next." I live in Wisconsin. You know, there were, I think, 200-foot thick glaciers in Wisconsin. How do you explain the climate change before man ever had a carbon footprint? How do you explain that climate change?
The statement that you just made is blatantly false.
How do you How do you explain climate change that occurred 10,000 years ago before man had a carbon footprint? How do you explain that?
Climate, there are variations in the Earth's orbital elements. The eccentricity of the Earth's orbit, the time in the season at which it's closest to the sun.
So those variations just end right now, so now it's all man-made?
No one has said it is all man-made.
Well,
there are
that
natural.
kind of the tack that most
However,
environmentalists take.
the man-made effect is now dominant, and we can measure that because we can measure the energy balance of the planet, and we see that there's more energy coming in and it is going out. So therefore, the planet is going to continue to get warmer. It doesn't mean each year is going to get warmer because there are natural fluctuations. But this decade is going to be warmer than the last one, and the following one will be still warmer.
I agree with Ms. Harbert. I think the science is far from settled. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'm going to